What would happen if you designed a dormitory to behave less like a conventional building and more like a giant piece of porous material, something closer to a block of stone eaten through by wind and water over centuries than a stack of neatly ordered bedrooms? This is the question that seems to sit behind every decision in Simmons Hall, the undergraduate residence Steven Holl architects built for MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, working alongside Perry Dean Rogers, and completed in 2002. Housing approximately 350 students across 10 stories, the building quickly earned the affectionate nickname the Sponge, a name that captures both its visual character and the deeper conceptual ambition driving its design. Holl has long been associated with an idea he calls porosity, the notion that a building's mass can be treated not as a solid, impenetrable block, but as a permeable field, riddled with openings that let light, air, and view pass through in ways that feel almost geological rather than architectural. Simmons Hall takes this idea and pushes it to an extreme rarely attempted at this scale. The building's enormous concrete volume is punctured by approximately 5,500 square windows, each one modest in size, arranged within a rigorous aluminum grid that covers nearly every surface of the facade. At first glance, the pattern seems random, almost chaotic, windows appearing and disappearing across the surface without any obvious logic. Look longer and a different truth emerges. The grid itself is entirely regular, a disciplined structural rhythm running across the whole building, and what creates the sense of irregularity is the selective placement of window openings within that grid, some cells left as solid concrete, others opened into glazing, producing a facade that oscillates constantly between order and apparent randomness. This tension is not decorative. It becomes a visual demonstration of Hall's core argument that architecture can hold two opposing qualities simultaneously, geometric discipline and organic unpredictability, without one canceling out the other. Inside, this porous logic continues, though it takes on a softer, more fluid character. Where the exterior reads as rigid and grid, many of the interior spaces feel carved, curved, and almost sculptural, an intentional contrast between the mathematical order of the skin and the more sensory, unpredictable qualities of the spaces one actually moves through. The building sits along Vassar Street at MIT, occupying a position that had long felt like a gap between the dense academic core of the campus and the open expanse of the athletic fields to the west. Rising 10 stories, Simmons Hall does more than fill that gap physically. It acts as a hinge, a mediating structure that gives the athletic landscape an architectural edge while extending the scale and rhythm of campus buildings out toward the fields, completing a relationship between two very different zones of MIT that previously lacked a clear connective moment. Structurally, the building relies on an unusual and highly innovative system that Holl and his engineers referred to as PerfCon, short for perforated concrete. Rather than treating the facade as a separate skin applied to an internal structural frame, PerfCon allows the concrete walls and floor slabs to work together as a single thick structural system, meaning the facade itself becomes part of the building's load-bearing logic rather than a purely decorative layer wrapped around it. This is a crucial distinction for architecture students to understand, because it means the thousands of small windows are not simply punched into a finished wall. They are integrated directly into the structural performance of the building, making the facade simultaneously an expressive surface and a working structural element, a rare fusion of architectural ambition and engineering necessity. The depth of these window openings adds another layer of performance to the design. Because the concrete walls are thick, each window sits within a deep reveal, and this depth is far from incidental. In summer, when the sun sits high in the sky, these deep openings shade the glass and reduce heat gain, keeping interior spaces cooler without relying entirely on mechanical air conditioning. In winter, when the sun's angle drops lower on the horizon, the same depth allows sunlight to penetrate further into the rooms, offering passive warmth exactly when it is most needed. This seasonal responsiveness reflects a broader environmental strategy embedded throughout the building. Many windows are operable, allowing students to control natural ventilation directly, drawing in fresh air during mild weather and reducing dependence on conventional air conditioning systems. The exposed concrete structure itself becomes part of this environmental logic, absorbing heat throughout the day and gradually releasing it, a thermal mass strategy that, combined with night ventilation flushing cooler air through the building after dark, helps regulate interior temperature swings across the daily cycle. None of this is hidden behind decorative cladding. The concrete remains exposed inside and out, its rough, honest texture becoming part of the building's material identity, an approach fully consistent with Holl's long-standing interest in material authenticity. Moving inside, the experience of Simmons Hall shifts dramatically from the disciplined grid of the exterior towards something far more theatrical. Cavernous atriums cut vertically through the building, connecting multiple floors and flooding lower levels with daylight from skylights positioned high above. Broad curved staircases wind upward through these spaces, deliberately avoiding the straight, efficient logic of a conventional dormitory stair in favor of something closer to a sculptural promenade, encouraging students to linger, look across the void, and encounter classmates moving through the same space from different directions. Bridges span across these atriums at various levels, creating additional layers of visual connection and movement, so that even routine trips between floors become spatial events rather than simple functional transitions. This is where Holl's underlying philosophy about student housing becomes most clear. A dormitory, in his view, should not simply provide bedrooms in which students sleep and study in isolation. It should actively encourage social interaction, chance encounters, informal collaboration, and a sense of communal life that unfolds through architecture rather than despite it. Simmons Hall is organized around an extensive network of shared programs woven throughout its 10 floors, including study lounges, dining facilities, computer clusters, a music practice room, fitness spaces, and game rooms. Each one positioned to intersect naturally with circulation paths so that students moving between their rooms and the outside world repeatedly pass through, and hopefully pause within, these communal zones. This creates a deliberate contrast between the two primary spatial conditions of the building. Student bedrooms themselves are comparatively modest and conventional, simple, efficient boxes designed for privacy, rest, and individual study. The communal spaces, by contrast, are where the architectural experimentation becomes most intense, curved, layered, filled with unexpected sight lines and dramatic volumes. This contrast is intentional rather than accidental, allowing the building to give students a calm, private retreat while channeling architectural energy and social possibility into the spaces they share. Color plays a quiet but important role in organizing identity within this otherwise monochromatic concrete structure. Certain window recesses are painted in saturated tones of red, yellow, and blue, marking specific communal spaces or floor identities and offering visual relief within the gray concrete field. These colored accents help students orient themselves within a building that could otherwise feel overwhelming in its scale and repetition, turning color into a wayfinding tool as much as an aesthetic gesture. The building's character changes dramatically after dark. As evening falls and hundreds of individual dorm rooms illuminate from within, the facade transforms into something closer to a giant pixelated screen, each glowing window becoming a single point of light within the larger grid. The building's porous concrete skin suddenly reading as a field of individual human presences rather than an abstract architectural pattern. This nighttime transformation reveals one of Holl's deepest architectural interests, a phenomenological approach concerned not simply with how a building looks in photographs, but with how it is actually perceived and experienced through light, material, movement, and time. Holl has written extensively about architecture as something felt through the body rather than understood only through drawings, and Simmons Hall becomes a direct demonstration of that philosophy. Daylight moving across the perforated facade throughout the day, air flowing through operable windows, sound echoing through the cavernous atriums, and students physically moving through curved stairs and bridges all become active components of the architectural experience rather than passive background conditions. The building does not simply house students. It performs, responding constantly to environmental and human variables in ways that make the architecture feel alive rather than static. Yet for all its conceptual ambition, Simmons Hall has faced real and persistent criticism, and any honest documentary account of the building needs to address these challenges directly rather than presenting it as an unquestioned masterpiece. The sheer number of windows, roughly 5,500 individually operable units, has proven extraordinarily difficult and costly to maintain. Cleaning, sealing, and repairing thousands of small openings across a 10-story concrete facade is a maintenance challenge unlike almost any other building on campus, and reports over the years have pointed to water infiltration issues, mechanical wear on operable hardware, and the sheer logistical burden of servicing a facade this complex. Critics have also questioned whether the experimental intensity of the communal spaces, however visually striking, always serves the practical, everyday needs of the students living there, some of whom have described certain areas as more dramatic than functional. This tension between architectural experimentation and the practical demands of student housing is not a flaw to be hidden. It is, in fact, one of the most valuable aspects of studying Simmons Hall, because it forces us to confront the real cost, both financial and functional, of pursuing an architectural concept with this level of conviction. Despite these challenges, or perhaps because architecture schools value buildings precisely for the questions they raise, Simmons Hall has received significant critical recognition and remains widely studied within contemporary university architecture. It stands as one of the defining works of Steven Holl's career, frequently cited alongside his other major projects as evidence of his consistent commitment to phenomenological ideas, material honesty, and structural innovation pursued simultaneously rather than in isolation. Few buildings manage to fuse structural logic, environmental performance, and social ambition as explicitly as Simmons Hall does. And this is precisely why it continues to serve as an important case study for students trying to understand how these different architectural concerns can reinforce rather than compete with one another. The building asks us to reconsider what a dormitory is actually for. Is student housing simply an efficient container for sleeping and studying, a functional box optimized for cost and convenience, or can architecture take an active role in shaping the social life of a university, using structure, light, material, and spatial sequence to generate the kind of chance encounters and shared experiences that define a genuine academic community? Simmons Hall does not offer an easy answer. It offers, instead, a bold and occasionally imperfect argument that architecture can do more than house students, that a building can actively participate in building a community, provided we are willing to accept the practical complications that come with such an ambitious idea. It is worth remembering that MIT itself is an institution built on experimentation, on the willingness to test an idea at full scale rather than retreat into caution. And Simmons Hall reflects that institutional spirit as much as it reflects Hall's personal design philosophy. Placing an experimental piece of housing directly beside a campus known for engineering risk and scientific inquiry feels less like an isolated architectural gesture and more like a natural extension of the surrounding academic culture, a building that mirrors the intellectual habits of the community it serves. This context matters when evaluating the building's legacy, because it reminds us that architecture does not exist independently of the institutions that commission it. A university willing to accept a facade of 5,500 operable windows, along with all the maintenance complexity that decision implies, is a university signaling something about its own values, a willingness to prioritize experimentation and student experience over the safer, more predictable path of conventional dormitory design. Seen this way, the ongoing maintenance challenges become less a simple failure of practicality and more a long-term cost that MIT appears to have knowingly accepted in exchange for a building that continues to generate conversation, research, and architectural interest more than 2 decades after its completion. Few student residences anywhere in the world remain this actively discussed within academic architecture curricula, and that persistent relevance is itself a form of success that purely functional buildings rarely achieve. If this exploration of porosity, structure, and social space left you thinking differently about what a dormitory can be, consider subscribing to UrbArchitect for more documentary journeys through the building's reshaping contemporary campus architecture. And let us know in the comments whether you think Simmons Hall gets the balance right between architectural ambition and everyday student life.